Hi, everyone. It's Angie Yingst, and I'm coming in for February's reading. This is both going on my YouTube and on Facebook. So I don't know. I thought you guys might be interested. It's a snowy day and all of that. I can't really see comments, so but I will try to. Um, I can't necessarily see who's saying it. Let's put it that way. But let me see if I can see myself, and maybe I'll be able to do that. Oh, there I am. Okay. Hi, Liz. Hi, Debbie. Okay, so let's talk about February 2021. Hi, Kat. I'm gonna what I usually do is pull a tarot card. I will pull earth medicine for the month and just how you work with some of this energy that's coming up. And so we're in Mercury retrograde, which just went retrograde on Saturday. So I don't know. I mean, if you're like me, I've been feeling it. So um, I was feeling it prior to Mercury going retrograde, which is kind of my little dilemma in life. So, hey, Tiffany, Vanessa, hi, Pooja. Um, so I'm going to just talk about some of the big astrological things coming up this month, and then we'll talk about some of the medicine to work with. I have been feeling this real pull between the water and the air, and you'll see that in the medicine that's come through. And this was one of those months that the medicine came to me. I usually pull a card, or I go into Journey and then pull a card. I do something like that, but this month the medicine came, and I thought, okay, this is perfect actually with what I'm feeling. So let's talk about some of the big astrological stuff happening. So new moon. So right now we're in Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes direct on February 20th. The new moon is on the 11th of February, and the full moon in Virgo is on the 27th. I love me a good full moon in Virgo. I don't know about anybody else, but I love Virgos. I love Virgo medicine and Virgo energy. It's just really balancing for me as a Capricorn. I know it's not comfortable for everyone. Virgo can be really attentive to detail, which is nice. So let's just talk about this period right now. So we're in Mercury retrograde, which means, obviously we don't want to be signing contracts, but and there's kind of a reputation for electronics going blah 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 and everything going a little funky. One of the things I think is really important to keep in mind about Mercury retrograde is that generally it's an internal time. And so I think that it's a lot more useful to talk about Mercury retrograde as working on the inside stuff, right? So if you're noticing with communication that people are triggering you, or something that somebody said is like really painful or really upsetting, it's really important for the internal work to start, right? Instead of it being like there's something wrong with you and shooting off a text and firing off an email and getting really up in arms. That's when, I think Mercury retrograde gets a bad reputation because a lot of it's internal work. Like, for example, and I'm going to give you a really personal example, is I like knocked over, I was kind of rushing, and things were loud because I had company, and like I was just kind of like overwhelmed, like sensory overwhelm. And so that sensory overwhelm made me really klutzy and rushed. And so I dropped one of my favorite pieces in my hutch, and it broke on the floor. And it was like one of the things I got from my wedding. And I got like so mad. And I realized like I was about to start yelling at children and telling them to be quiet and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized like, no, this is you not paying attention to the cues of your own body, of saying like, I am in sensory overwhelm and I need to sit down, take some breaths, do a little meditation, ground myself. I don't have to rush around and do everything. Like, I wasn't paying attention to my own cues and taking care of myself. What I was doing was rushing, 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 trying to get everything done and being just kind of like the one who was the problem, you know. Everybody else was just being like normal. They were kids. Like, basically, I was getting annoyed because they were being children. And that's exactly what I'm supposed to do as a mother, is be patient with their ability to be a child, you know, and have fun and scream and run around and not be like worried about, you know, having company, right? So anyway, all that being said, like, that's, I think, what Mercury retrograde is important for, is like, if you can be patient and curious about yourself, you'll find that you can actually do a lot of internal work. But if you want to try to heal relationships and have really deep communication with other people, just be aware that this is not the best time to do that. It's not the best time to like try to communicate clearly. It's more important for you to notice your reactions to things. So I think that's kind of where I find the most usefulness of looking at Mercury retrograde, instead of just being like, oh, everything's going to go to shit and I can't, you know, my car's going to get crashed and all my electronics are going to crash and blah, blah, blah. It's more like, what happens if your computer crashes? How would you feel about that? Okay, well, let's try to do the things to help troubleshoot the worst case scenario with our electronics. Let's back up our files. Let's do those things. And then we'll just deal with what happens next. Does that make sense? So, okay, I'm going to come over to Facebook. Liz said, I feel it before it goes retrograde as well. I call it Mercury bonus. That's so funny, Liz. Marie said, not comfy for this, Leo. Yeah, Leos can struggle with Virgo energy sometimes. So, I don't know what that was, but something beeped. So hopefully it wasn't you guys beeping off. The other thing that's happening in February is on the 17th of February, we have a major event like the Saturn Uranus square. Okay, so square is the term when two planets make like a 90-degree angle with each other. So it's associated with like tense energy, right? So like this is the first Saturn Uranus square we've experienced since 2000. Okay, so that usually indicates some big changes, some tense energy, things start, you know, shuffling up. Okay, but I just want you to know that there's 3 of them this year. So there's February 17th, June 14th, and December 24th. So this is like a whole year journey rather than one day thing. And I also really don't like the idea of like, there's this portal and everything's going to change in one day. Though that's happened in history, right? I mean, more than likely it's the beginning of shifts, you know, a beginning of things that we start seeing. And so I wouldn't go like too hog wild getting afraid of that. But I like, you know, the idea that we have a whole year of these changes coming up and all that stuff. So I just want to like welcome everybody. I'm doing an earth medicine reading for the month. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so what is the medicine that I'm getting for the month? As a tarot reader, I like to pull a card and I pull it intuitively. I don't like search through the deck to pull one that I think will work. But this month, the High Priestess is visiting us. And the High Priestess is the psychic woman of the tarot. And she's, you know, she's said to be silent. She said to communicate only through intuition and her, you know, telepathy, so to speak. I don't know if I like to think of the High Priestess that way. Women have been silent for too long, so I'm not really into the archetype of women being silent. I am into the archetype of her bringing forth really important feminine spiritual images here. So we've got the crown of Isis here, and I always see that almost like a moonstone. We have the pomegranates in the background, kind of indicating the journey of Demeter and Persephone as both the grieving mother goddess, the one whose daughter goes into the underworld for half the year. And that sense, like as a bereaved mom, like that whole journey into the underworld and letting your child go into the underworld is just a powerful metaphor for us and for all parents. We have to watch our children go out into the world, and we also have to watch them make mistakes, like dating the the Lord of the Underworld. Um, and the symbol of the pomegranate is also a symbol of fertility. And the high priestess here, we generally think of it as a fertility symbol, like a symbol of like everything blossoming. She's like flanked by the pillars of Boaz and Joaquin, and that's from Solomon's temple. So this is something that Pamela Coleman Smith, the illustrator of the Rider Waite, really does well, where she brings all these different myths and all these different religious symbols together, so that you just get an understanding that there's this path forward, and the journey is not path specific, so to speak. And that's really what they believed. These were Christian pluralists, they were mystics, and they believed that all religions had the path forward, as long as you were connected to spirit. That was the important part. So she holds a scroll that says the Torah. She is got the cross on her. She's wearing blue of Mother Mary, and she's like standing on a moon, which is a symbol that we see with the Virgin Mary a lot. So we have all of this going on with the high priestess. Basically, she is the one that comes forward with really intuitive gifts for all of us. She helps us connect with the divine feminine. She helps us connect with Mother Earth. She helps us connect with our own cycles and rhythms. She's very connected to the moon. And she is connected with feminine cycles. So if you're a woman and, knowing which stage you are, right? Maiden, mother, or crone, this can indicate like to just pay more attention to those cycles. So as someone who's moving into her crone time, I'm just watching and working with the high priestess to help work with things like hot flashes and the mood stuff, and sleeping, for example. Like I've been having so much trouble sleeping, and the hot flashes at night and all that stuff. So working with the high priestess is like, we're going to ask her to bring so her dress is supposed to be water. So we're going to ask her to bring her watery dress to cool us, So we work with the high priestess. And if you're a male and you work with the high priestess, you're asked to kind of tap into the lunar energy that's available to all of us, including the masculine. The lunar masculine is a really powerful kind of image of the male who's connected with the night, right? The one that is wise and intuitive and sees through. So we use masculinity a lot with the word toxic in front of it. And that just isn't how the writers and the creators of the tarot see it, and that's not how I see it either. There's divinity in both the masculine and the feminine. There's also toxicity in the feminine and the masculine. The high priestess is really calling forth the feminine, and that is lunar energy. So that's moon energy. And when we talk about that, we're talking about lunar energy like of the owl, the wisdom, the one that flies in the dark and accepts both the shadow and the light. And that's why she stands in between. She sits in between shadow and light, because she's not all of the shadow and she's not all of the light. And that's the important part of kind of working with lunar energy, is there's darkness there, and we illuminate certain things so it's not in the shadow, but we are able to navigate the dark. And so when we sometimes work with these lunar ideas and these feminine ideas, we have to learn to accept the shadow. So what does that mean? Because that's like such a buzzword right now. And I, don't always love the way that pop culture and the like pop new age community talks about shadow, because it really jumps over it. It's like, oh, you can do shadow work in a day. It's not like that. Shadow work is about noticing. It's kind of like what we talked about with Mercury retrograde. We notice when we have a reaction that's way over a normal reaction to something. So there is a lot of deep work to do around the shadow. And, you know, obviously working with a therapist, working with someone who can guide you through shadow work is important. But the high priestess asks you, like, where are you hookable? And this is something like if you ever see the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron, she talks about a lot. You know, where is this place that gets you? You know, how does somebody who wants to piss you off and make you mad, what's their bait that they throw at you? Because do you want to have a hookable place anymore? Do we want to have negative attachments? Do we want to have triggers, so to speak? You know, and we all have them. Like literally, there is no one who's healthier than the other, right? So we have to think of ourselves as having like a curiosity, a really deep curiosity about what makes us tick. And that's the difference between someone who's self-aware and someone who's kind of, or the mindful and the mindless, right? Where we just kind of sail through life. The mindful part of working with the shadow and working with the lunar and the solar together is that we're not just looking at the light parts of us, not the happy, you know, like what makes you so happy? Like, what are you extraordinarily good at? It's also like, what is the thing that gets you hooked up? What's the thing that sends you to bed? What's the thing that makes you like 0 to 100? That's the thing we get curious about. That's the thing we bring into the light. That's the thing that gets illuminated. And it's not that we go like, oh, I'm just terrible. Like anytime somebody, you know, accuses me of lying, I just throw something at them and throw a tantrum. And you don't let yourself, you know, do that if you're working with shadow. You notice it, but you don't lash out. That's the last thing that we're asked to do. I just recently, somebody was talking about that, you know, someone talking about shadow that was like, I'm throwing a tantrum. That's because my shadow's telling me to. No, that's not what shadow does. Yes, we want to throw tantrums when we start working with shadow and noticing it, but those things should become deeply uncomfortable for us when we start noticing shadow because we're trying not to act out. So the discomfort is part of the work of working with shadow because we want to bring it into the light. It's not bringing it into light isn't telling our sins, you know, confessing our sins in public. The working with shadow is noticing it and not doing anything with it, you know, maybe noticing it and telling ourselves or working with somebody to help us say, I am no longer a child. Like that thing, I am no longer going to allow to derail me from my goals, from my dreams, from who I am. I'm going to continue to walk in integrity, even though I'm angry. I'm going to continue to be who I am, even though I'm triggered. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is sort of the work of the high priestess when you get down to it. And I'm going to come over and say hi. Oh, hi, Erin. Yep. High priestess. Hi, Sue. Hi, Kira. Hi, Maria. Oh, yep. You found me live. I don't usually do this. Oh, Kat. That's so smart. She said, yes, yes, yes. The acceptance of shadow and light. This speaks loudly to me as I stand in the void of the death walk of one I love. Oh, I'm so sorry, Catherine. Yeah, shadow work is always with us. Yeah. And it's, you know, that's important too, what Kat just said. Shadow work is always with us. You know, one of the things that I was just talking to Kira about in our last podcast was, you know, part of what I do is try to, when I hold space for other people, is tell my struggles with shadow. You know, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I have a sort of default setting to zone out, to numb out. And so I struggle with that, you know, and I can replace, like I could play whack-a-mole with that addiction, shopping and eating and other things. So it's really important to just know that we all are equals on this path and we all walk together. So the high priestess is a wonderful archetype and guide for working with shadow and also working with intuition. And this is something that we talk about a lot, but I don't know if a lot of people talk about how important intuition is in terms of doing this soul work, you know, and just really saying like, I'm going to trust my red flags now. When someone's showing me something, I'm just going to trust that red flag and I'm not going to second guess it and not say like, you need to not be so judgmental. You know, there is a fine line between being judgmental and being discerning. And I think the line is how internal that work is and how external it is. When we're judgmental, we want other people to know that we are judging another person. When we're discerning, we get to decide without judgment about the other person whether that's something that's healthy for us and walks in our integrity and aligns with our energy, in some of those new agey terms, or if it's something that doesn't align with us. And when we discern that, then we can just make decisions based on what's best for us at that moment. And this is something that I think can be really important. And just because we decide one way today doesn't mean it has to be that way tomorrow. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So this is the medicine of tarot for this month. And then I called in some of the other energy, and I actually pulled a mystic shaman card this month. And when I pulled it, the council, it made me realize that our journey. So if you're part of my membership group, which is on my website, if you're interested, I do these memberships. So I do this reading every month on YouTube. You can go back and view the other ones from the other months. And then what I do is I use this medicine, and that medicine's for everybody. You can use it anytime. And then you can do tiers if you want to. So I do a shamanic journey every month that's recorded and guided. And that's what I'll be talking about when I'm like, oh, this is for the shamanic journey that we're going to go on. So we're going to go to the upper world to meet with the Elder Council, with your guides, ascended masters, angels, and the ascended masters, angels, and spirit guides for this month. So I just really felt like the council was coming through, wanting to give you that. And because we're working with the high priestess, this is messages you can get on your own. And so, again, if you're part of the membership group, you'll get that journey sent to you if you have signed up for the shamanic journey. I also put them for sale. So if you just want to do a one-off journey, I have a bunch of them there, right? So you can go and just buy like a journey. And then like every month I do a different animal. So this month, the animal guide, the animal ally that came through for the journey, the one that's going to be carrying us into the upper world and working with us, this came to me because my stepfather in his creek found this beautiful great blue heron medicine and this feather. And so great blue heron's our guide this month, and I'm so excited. I use great blue heron a lot, quite frequently actually, which is funny because I don't talk about great blue heron a ton. But what I love about working with heron medicine is the fact that they kind of represent the way Aquarius appears as well, which is like as the water bearer, but it's an air sign. And since we're in the sun sign of Aquarius, that's why I'm talking about that. And this new moon that's coming up on the 11th is also in Aquarius. I just keep having to check that I'm getting the dates right, because great blue heron has the feet in the water, and obviously is also one that flies. So I work with great blue heron, quite a lot. But also when my father died, his symbol was great blue heron. And so he comes to me there's a great blue heron standing in my backyard. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose you because it just flicked. We're having a great big snowstorm here, which I'm sure you all are too. But I don't want to miss comments. So I'll hop over there and see comments in a minute. So great blue heron has its feet in the water. So very deep emotional work. And then it flies. So it works with air that way. There's a stillness to great blue heron that's really powerful. And there's an aloneness. Okay. Solitude. Great blue heron is kind of that symbol for the one who needs to be alone for a little and find that stillness and solitude. Great blue heron stands incredibly still for hours fishing. And so you can kind of work with that stillness within the self, and really just beyond just the graceful, beautiful energy of great blue heron. It's stillness. It's almost looks like it's in prayer. And I love that medicine too. So we're going to be having great blue heron take us into the upper world to meet with the council. And I think that's really going to be a high. So all of the journeys I've done, I started this in May. All of the journeys I've done have been to the lower world. So this is our first upper world journey. And I feel that lightness coming in. And I think February is just a wonderful month for doing some of this psychic intuitive work. So really powerful. Hi, Julie. Oh, thanks. I'm going to come over to Facebook. Hi, Steph. Hi, Trisha. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. Kat said, I love how the cards balance themselves. I know, right? I love that part too. The medicine always comes in and just sort of rounds everything out, right? Hi, Beverly. Yay, we're live now, Beverly. Yep. Okay. So we're working with Great Blue Heron, and we're working with the Elder Council, the upper world, and High Priestess. So let's talk about the plant medicine that we're working with, because, and I maybe somebody remembers who watches these regularly, but dandelion is coming in, and I know we don't really have dandelions in the middle of the snow, but dandelion is a wonderful root. So you can find dandelion tea, dandelion root tea, as a really powerful grounder. And it has a taste that's very similar to like coffee. So a lot of people use dandelion root when they're trying to get off of coffee and not be so caffeinated. I drink it at night because I just love it. It is coming in, and this deck has like a word that's associated with it, and the word here is humility. And of course, dandelion, like you can see why dandelion would be the herb for humility. But I think that's powerful when we start to do this really psychic, intuitive work, that we also work with humility, because it's a wonderful gift to walk this path with humility. We all have had experiences of people who seem quite gifted, but don't have the humility to kind of pass that information off without being manipulative or self-serving. So it's important for us, especially because we're working with Great Blue Heron, to kind of work with this solitary medicine and not have to be like overly outgoing, right? Overly extroverted. We don't have to brag about all the medicine we're getting. We can share it, but we don't have to use it as a symbol of our worth. Okay, I'm gonna come over here. Oh, Deb. Oh, I love you too. She said you are a giddy, making a promise to myself to seek you out in 2021. I hope so. I would love to see you in person, Deb. Yay, Beverly. Hi, Kim. Pooja said, oh, I love dandelion tea. I started drinking it a week ago. I love it too. Oh my gosh, one of my favorites, Pooja. Trisha said, dandelions are coming up now in Florida. Ooh, awesome. Maria says, started drinking at the beginning of the pandemic. So far, so good. The dandelion tea. Yeah, and dandelion tea is also a diuretic. It helps to like flush the kidneys. So it is an awesome tea, like if you're looking for herbal medicine too, for the body. So great attributes. Okay, so let's talk about the crystals, since I'm a crystal healer. All right. So first stone, and I did pick these, was ocean jasper. Now, ocean jasper is, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I have favorites. It's one of my favorites, though. This is my favorite piece, but I also have this piece, which is kind of vying for my favorite piece. Okay, and it really does like have this wide range of color and all that stuff. So here's another piece of ocean jasper, and you can see like it's wildly different. And this piece is beautiful because it has a little druzy in the middle. Ocean jasper is only found in Madagascar. It's I use it to connect with Mother Earth. I use it for heart healing. I use it as like when you're struggling with self-love, with self-mothering, and if you don't, so I love this book by Jill Clifton Doneen. Her book is called Landscape of Mothers. I would just go on her website, look her up, because she really talks about these different mother archetypes, and she uses it with the landscape. And I really learned a lot about self-mothering when I took her beta course. And I just felt like it was so powerful. And I use her ideas a lot in my own work with learning how to self-mother. And I have a wonderful mother. I'm not saying anything about my mother. I'm just saying when we become adults, we really have to learn how to self-mother and learn how to care for ourselves. And like I was telling you the story of my, you know, dropping one of my favorite pieces is, we have to put ourselves in timeout sometimes, and we have to move in ways that honor self-care, and self-care in the sense of like, you need to eat right now. Are you going to sleep early tonight? Because it seems like you're a little tired, the kind of things we would say to our kids. So Ocean Jasper connects with that mothery energy and that really self-worth and self-care energy. So if you're struggling with that, Ocean Jasper is a wonderful ally. It also goes, you can see the kind of cellular markings on it. Almost looks like cells. It goes down to that cellular work. So you can, like, what I feel with Ocean Jasper is like you can literally repattern DNA. And that to me is incredibly helpful to think about that we can change these things that we don't think are changeable about us. And so I'm super into getting Ocean Jasper for this work this month. A lot of people think it because of the name Ocean Jasper that it works with watery energy, but it's actually very earthy medicine. And it comes in like if you work with Gaia or Mother Earth, really, really beautiful energy. The next stone that came in was Morganite for self-worth. Morganite's it's one of those stones that I don't see a ton of crystal healers talking about, but I know we all work with it. It's pink. It's got a really light pink. A lot of people think it looks like rose quartz or like a pink calcite or something like that. But Morganite, it's named after J.P. Morgan, if you didn't know. It gets faceted into some beautiful like fine jewelry, especially the gemmy kind. This is not a gemmy kind. This is a raw Morganite. It works with self-worth, but I feel like it comes in with that divine love. And we can work with it with the pink flame of divine healing. You can substitute for Morganite this month if you don't have it, because it isn't in every crystal shop. It isn't readily available for everyone. But if you have it, that's awesome to work with Morganite. If you don't have it, you can substitute rose quartz. You can substitute kunzite. Those are excellent substitutes for Morganite. And again, looks like we're doing a lot of heart healing here. And that's the internal work that we're doing. So I'm going to come over. Liz says, love watching blue herons. They give us such a be silent, be still kind of vibe. Absolutely, Liz. Like if they had a speech bubble, it'd say, be one with yourself to be one with the earth. And then they catch a fish. Yeah, I love that, Liz. That's so brilliant. And then Liz says, Morganite, black obsidian, clear quartz is a favorite combo of mine right now. Love, love, love Morganite. Yeah, I love Morganite too. I'm excited to work with it on my altar. Oh, and happy Imbolc today. If you don't know, today's Imbolc. All right. And then the last stone is labradorite. And labradorite is such an interesting third stone. I would normally pull these three together. I would put these two together. I would put Ocean Jasper and Morganite together. But labradorite is a stone of the new moon, of the shadow. So I think this is coming in for that work. If you're finding, you can see the flash. We call it the Labrador essence of, the labradorite. Labradorite is kind of like the gatekeeper of the shadow and works with the new moon energy. So perfect on the 11th. Also a wonderful dream stone. Whenever somebody gets married, I give them a labradorite heart. When I want to give that when they're into crystals, not just, though I did give my friend Jess one. I don't know if she was into it, but to me is really that connection with doing shadow work and all that love work that we do together. Um, and I guess I should explain that a little more because when I think about um, marriage and I think about relationships, the thing that I think is most important is we do like 95, 98%. This is a totally made up statistic, by the way. This is an Angie made up statistic, but 98% of our spiritual work is done in our relationship. And I think that's an important thing to remember is that you're not going to go out into the world and do this shadow work with, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. You do this shadow work with your partner, with your kids, with your mother, with your sister, with your what you do it in your relationships, in your really primary relationships. Labradorite is a wonderful guide for that work because it's gentle and it also opens the third eye. It pushes you into that. It's a stone of magic. So if you're a magical practitioner, you're just interested in that. The shaman loves the Labradorite. It kind of works with that energy as the gate opener. And you can see all the cool flashes of color. So that's why we don't work with it with one specific chakra. We work with it with all of them. So yeah. See it? Blue is the third eye. The yellow is that wonderful gut instinct, right? Love that flash. Trisha said, Labradorite is one of my faves. I have it everywhere. Yeah. Kat said Labradorite is one of my favorites. Kat said I would agree with the Angie statistic 100%. Thanks, Kat. Oh my God, that cracked me up. So yeah, I think we've got a wonderful set of allies this month. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you for letting me do this and come in live. I should do more of these. I sometimes feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants with work and balancing all the kids home. We have a snow day today, so I've got 3 kids, actually 4, because my nephew's here too. So on the computer all day, so it does take a lot of like quietness, which I'm not always great at, and all that stuff. So I'm grateful. This will be available on YouTube, so you can rewatch again and again if you want, through the month or whatever. And if you are interested in my membership, you can just go to angieyingst.com, and there's a little tab that says memberships. And it's a great way to get like a reading. So what I do for those, just to explain again, is like on the new moon, I do a full tarot reading for the new moon. On the full moon, I do a full tarot reading for the full moon. And then I do a shamanic journey every month. So you can do tiers. So the first tier is like $20, and you can pick one of those things. You can either do the new moon reading, the full moon reading, or the shamanic journey. And I send it to you as a SoundCloud link that's private. And then the next level, you can do all 3 of them. Then the next level, you can do a personal reading at either the new moon or full moon. And then, so they're either 15-minute or 30-minute. And it gets billed monthly. You can end at any time. You don't need to, like, I don't make you commit to 6 months or something. Like, you literally just sign up for 1 month. And I set it all up. So you literally just text me or email me, because I don't mind. And I understand how money can be good one day and the next day be tight. So I always I always err on the side of your comfort and your money. So anyway, that's it. I hate selling myself, so I do my best, but sometimes people are like, I don't know that these things are happening. You have to tell us. So I'm like trying to tell you. I'm also doing journeys at Ultiview Wellness Center. And we do them like half on Zoom and half in person. So if you are ever interested in doing some of those, Sharon and I do them together 1 month, and the next month she does it with the angels and ascended masters, and the next month I do it with an animal. And like the animals this month are crazy awesome. They all come to me in journey, but it's like we're going to be working with, I think the next one is in March, and we're going to be working with mountain lion, and then hawk, and then octopus I think is coming in, which I'm excited about. Buffalo. I don't know what else, but I'm excited about it. So anyway, love you all. I'm going to pop over and make sure I'm not missing anything here. Kat said, yes, please do more. So good to see you and hear your wise words. Oh, Kat, thank you. You're always so supportive and lovely. Beth said, yay, I love seeing you. I miss seeing you, Beth. Liz said, can I share your feeds on my business page when I do promo post days? Yes. Oh my gosh, please do. That's such a huge honor. Thank you. Yes, anybody can share any of my stuff. I appreciate that. I never ask people to do that, but I really appreciate it. Hi, Kathy Rose. Oh, I love you too, Trisha. She said, thank you. Needed this reconnect today. Yeah, me too. Kat said, can I promote you in my newsletter, Ange? Just writing it down now. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kat. Hi, Cheryl. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Sue. Love you, Kim. Miss you too. Congratulations. Oh, Steph, I miss you. Ooh, octopus. I know, Liz. Did you guys see my octopus teacher? That is it's so cool. If you haven't watched this on Netflix, it's a documentary. So, oh, thanks, Debbie. Imolk blessings to you too. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Love you. Bye.